Today, General Caldwell's traveling to check on progress at 2 training centers in Helmand province. The stakes are high. If his plan fails and Afghanistan is unable to defend itself, then the last 10 years of sacrifice will have been for nothing. We're leaving Kabul to travel first to Camp Bastion and then on to Lashkargah. Ten years ago, the Afghan National Army numbered a mere 1,700 soldiers. Now Caldwell's ambition is to grow the army into a fighting force of 200,000. The one thing the general found out early on is that 90% of the Afghan army and police were illiterate. In order to build an effective army, he realized an important initiative missed by his predecessors: to teach them to read and write. Because without these basic skills, they can't operate weapon systems, read maps, write orders, or collect information. Caldwell's recruitment drive is immense. 2,800 new troops are qualifying every month.
How many of them thought that literacy training was beneficial for their development?
Ki metona ke sawala jawab bata. The guy is gonna answer the question.
پښتو کې یو متل دا وي د بې سواد او سواد ترمنځ د وړون او بنا خبره ده. د دلته سواد خو ډېر مهمه ده، په هر ځای کې انسان ته پکارېږي، ځکه انسان د سواد لارې کولی چې هغه خپل هر مشکل حل کړي.
I'd be very interested if we could ask a few of them why they joined the army.
جا محمد نبی پلوی 4 بلوک 4 داخل اردو میخواهیم که اردو ما ترقی شود، افغانستان وطن آرام شود. امنیت میخواهیم با افغانستان اردو ما ترقی کنیم، با وطن ترقی کنیم.
Ask him where he's from in Afghanistan.
شما از کدام قسمت افغانستان هستید؟
ولایت کندوز.
He is from Kunduz province.
ولایت حضرت امام صاحب.
Ask somebody if they're from the Helmand province.
کسی از در بینتون که از ولایت هلمند باشه؟ He is from the Garibsir district.
And do they think of themselves now as being members of tribes, or are they members of the Afghan National Army?
فعلا کس مربوط داخل اردو شدیم و یک اردو تشکیل دادیم. چی حالا بهتر بود یا قبلا؟ Now they're good because they joined together.
Do any of them have any preferences? How many of them want to go and fight in Helmand?
در بین شما چند نفر علاقه‌مند است که بره با طالبان جنگ کنه؟
We have ideas.
So many want to go to Helmand, yeah? Thank you very much. All new soldiers are put through an intensive 8-week course. The police also need to be retrained so they can work alongside the army on combined operations. These aren't the skills, General, that you train a policeman in the UK or in the US with, are they?
Oh yeah, not 10, 15 men maneuvering together. It's a basic soldier skill that absolutely essential for them for their survival.
But training the security forces to defeat the Taliban is one thing. For the country to survive in the long term, there also needs to be a solid infrastructure. You have been given, without doubt, the toughest job, right?
It is. It's challenging. You know, we're all brought up in our military careers to be the combat leaders, but to stand up and get a force generating from scratch, to teach it to be self-sustaining, to put in the institutions into place is an enormous undertaking, and there's no set organization that does that. What we found is we've got to really take a comprehensive approach. So when we want a facility, a training facility built up, rather than just contracting out with a big contracting firm, we now reach out to local Afghan firms. We contract with them to come in and build portions and pieces of this. Now the local community sort of owns this.
So it's not the actual soldiers that are doing this, it's actual locals that you're bringing in.
Absolutely. And then when we bring them in, we partner them up with engineers from all of our different nations that teach them the basic skills that they need. It now belongs to them. They take ownership of it, and it's an Afghan facility, not a coalition facility. So standing up a logistics systems, we are just really beginning to do that now. A maintenance system, a medical system. You know, those are the things that will ensure that this investment lasts. This truck here, for example, I mean, a harvester truck, this is probably one of the most expensive heavy-duty trucks you can buy today on the open market. And we've been giving, you know, literally thousands of these to the Afghan Army. The key is, can they now maintain this themselves so that 10 years from now, when you and I are back here, you know, we're still going to see these vehicles. I want them to have the supply part depot, when they have a system that delivers it down to the mechanic that then puts it on the truck and keeps the truck functioning. And I want them to do it all.
Yeah, but that isn't going to happen in 3 years, is it, sir?
It's not. I mean, what we want...
know that. I mean, that's realistic,
right.
and we're being realistic, yeah.
We are, and what we have said is combat forces cease operations at the end of 2014.
Yeah.
But our mission does not end in 2014. Rather, it's just an evolution of what we're going to be doing, working here with our Afghan counterparts.
My time with the General is at an end. I want to find out just how good this new Afghan National Army actually is. In 4 days' time, the Afghan National Army are launching a major offensive to secure territory from the Taliban. I'm joining them to see for myself how this new army can operate on its own and how ready they will be to take over the security of the country in 2015. This is the first time the Afghans have been given their own operational area, where they plan operations and go out on the ground on their own. The ISAF role here is basically to stand back and advise and train and only offer support if they're really, really needed. This is basically a template for the future role of ISAF in Afghanistan. This is Patrol Base Jahan Zeb in southern Helmand. Strategically placed just 10 miles from the main town of Lashkargah, the soldiers are here to protect the town from rocket attack. From this base, 40 British and American troops advise a battalion, or Kandak as it's known, of 600 Afghan National Army soldiers. The main operation is in a few days' time, but before that, they're heading out on a recce patrol. The plan is to rendezvous with the ANA at their company compound a couple of miles away.
Okay, our mission is to go on a mentor patrol to HQ Tole.
Colour Sergeant Ian Fisher of 3 Mercian is giving orders to his men.
What I want to do is break out the ground again, so we'll go up static, and myself and Chosen 5-6 will go firm in and around those 2 compounds just north of us, overwatch the ground, and then push U2 forward, okay, into that compound there. Once at 2426, we'll sit down, have a chinwag with the commander of that Tole, find out exactly what his plan is on the ground and where he wants to go, and then back him up, and obviously SOPs accordingly.
As this is going to be an Afghan-led patrol, the men from the Mercian Regiment will only step in if they feel the ANA are not able to deal with the situation. expecting to find 40 Afghan troops ready for action. But when we arrive, there's only 5.
Right, the commander, typically, has done one.
He's disappeared.
He's disappeared. He's either asleep or he's going to visit some other compound. Obviously, this is in preparation for the massive op that's going to come up.
Yeah, understood.
So they are, when we say, right, we need 24 hours battle prep, you translate that into the ANA, which is 48 hours, possibly 72 hours. That's not in respect of the normal day-to-day running. When they've got normal patrols and no big op coming up,
they will go out. Yeah,
they will go out and they'll have a knock up there.
Oh, they're not scared of having a fight. That's
No.
not in question. The fact is that they just don't work the same way that you work.
No.
The basic feeling is this is the general procedure. You know, they arrive and the Afghan National Army aren't really in symmetry, and that's being kind. So, you know, there is a long way to go. I mean, we're not going to say that they're ever going to behave like a Western army. That's never going to happen. But, you know, it would be nice that when we turned up, they were ready to go, or even knew that we were coming, when it was arranged this morning and they agreed it.
Well, lads, we're not going out.
No. The commander is asleep.
The Mercians have no authority over the Afghans, who will only take orders from their Afghan commander. It seems without their commander, they're at a loss at what to do. And so are we.
Advisor 43 Alpha, Roger. We've turned up at HQ Tole's location. Effectively, they were in bed. They're all up now, but they're claiming that they haven't been told about the patrol today.
And so, Captain is now getting on the net to speak to the Major, who was with them in the meeting this morning, where it was arranged that we would go out on this patrol to find out what's been lost in translation.
Just wanting some clarification from your end, whether or not it was actually agreed with the Kandak CO that they patrolled today.
Then the commander suddenly appears with some more troops.
Okay, so we're going on patrol?
And they line up to go on patrol.
Hello, Advisor 40 Alpha, this is Advisor 40 Alpha. The message should have been passed, being repeated now. So stand by for your control. Over.
Advisor 43 Alpha, Roger out.
Okay, we're on.
The ANA take the lead on foot, while the British and Americans provide support from their vehicles. This new relationship is a template for the future. I'm in a Jackal, an open-top armoured vehicle. It's not long before the Mercians spot something suspicious. It seems that our patrol is being watched by the enemy.
Just see the tip of his head, he's by a tree. That's where your suspected enemy are, yeah? Yeah, that's gone from 1 to 2 on that roof now. That's the ANA coming across that front. Motorcyclist moving off up to the north, really quickly.
Basically said that there's a number of combat indicators, yeah? We've got civilians moving out of the area to the north of us. You've got a guy on a motorcycle, an observer, racing north on his motorcycle, and they've seen 4 to 5 fighting age males go to ground. The ANA in front of us must have seen that, because they have now gone to ground in front of us.
Are you getting anything? I don't see shit, sir.
Our support role isn't just limited to the ground. High above us is an American unmanned aircraft beaming pictures to the US Marines.
They're saying that Taliban are currently in compound 5A with RPGs.
Gunshot to the left. Single round to the left. the west.
That's the ANA.
Second shot, third, fourth.
We advise ANA are currently firing to the north and stand by for location.
But then just as the enemy is engaged, it all goes quiet. We learn from the Americans that the ANA have called off the patrol.
They haven't got enough men to cover the open ground and have another manoeuvre unit.
So basically, they've decided that if they went across the open ground, even with the assets that you could supply, it would be too risky, and they'd rather wait for another day.
That's correct.
So you know the enemy are there, but it's not in your remit to go and contact them or go any closer, because the Afghan National Army have said they decided to go west.
Yeah, they've decided now to push out. They're pulling out as we speak.
We head back to base. The Afghans have decided to save their strength for the big operation in 4 days' time.